allow me to address our warm welcome to Your Excellency Mr. Ahmed Chafra, Ambassador of Tunisia to Germany. Dear Tunisian partners, speakers and friends of the EMA, welcome and thank you for joining our virtual gathering with our digital experts from Tunisia. Did you know that no less than 7 ministers of the current Tunisian government have an IT background? And that currently a new Digital Vision 2025 is being developed? For sure, many projects are on their way. Today, we want to present some of them and explore the opportunities for investment and economic cooperation. Before I hand over the floor to our today's distinguished panel guests, let me share with you some of my experiences from the past 3 weeks, where the EMA has been part of a virtual delegation trip to Tunisia for our new project in the IT sector. First of all, and this is very important for our today's session too, we all need to reflect on what we understand by digital economy. This is a very broad term, and we can have a look at digitalization from so many perspectives. In our last week's mission, for instance, the EMA has taken the IT perspective. We have been talking with CIOs of companies, the IT company and policy decision makers, and we asked our partners how to foster the cross-sectoral IT development in the whole Tunisian industry. Together with our German partner Voice, our Tunisian partners, and with the support of our federal government, the BMZ, we will strengthen the exchange of IT decision makers from October on. In our exchange, we could clearly see that Tunisia has very well performed through the Covid-19 crisis, also thanks to the joint efforts between the Tunisian government and the private sector. Indeed, the IT sector is one of the fastest growing and most stable sectors, with full of new opportunities and niches for innovation. At the same time, we can expect massive changes on the workplace, for the good and for the bad. We want to bring insights in this webinar and to give all of you the opportunity to share ideas, questions, and comments. So before giving the floor to His Excellency and our distinguished speakers, let us ensure to have a smooth and structured webinar and to all follow some instructions. So as I told you before, I ask all participants to mute their microphones and switch off their videos. So as moderator, I would not activate anything unless you allow me to do so, and you need to interact with each other. Only the speakers can activate their videos and microphones, and there will be some presentations we tested before, so everything will go perfectly, of course. And please feel free to ask your questions. We decided to allow the questions in the chat. We will try to have the questions answered during the webinar, of course, but also in the end, we will dedicate some time for Q&A. And please be sure, anything that we will not be ready to answer in this next 1.5 hours, we will send you some answers after this webinar. Now, please allow me to give the floor to His Excellency Ahmed Chafra to speak about Tunisia's fight against the COVID-19 pandemic and the current situation. Welcome and thank you so much, Your Excellency. We cannot hear you. You need to unmute your microphone again, please. Thank you.
Indeed, it's a good renewed opportunity that we have. EMA today is organizing this webinar, and this is also this witnesses the good cooperation that EMA has already done with the embassy, with FIPA, with TIA, and we are very pleased about that. I want to speak about the current situation of Tunisia, though under this crisis, health crisis, the COVID. So let me first say that Tunisia now is a safe country, is a COVID-19 safe country, and Tunisia managed to get through this crisis, which is continuous, unfortunately, but with the minimum of damages, the minimum possible of damages. And what lessons we have learned from this crisis in Tunisia? First, I think the important thing is that democracy and transparency are very important to deal with such crisis. We have seen that thanks to the democratic and transparent system, we have managed to get all the Tunisian stakeholders involved, mainly the civil society. Now I would like to come to the role that young people, young educated people played during this crisis in order to help the government implement the necessary measures, necessary policies in containing this epidemic, this pandemic. Our young people, our skilled people, they at the beginning they tried their best in order to make new applications, to make new procedures, in order to help assist some the health structures in necessary equipments. And we saw how important this efforts in order to help the structures, to help all the levels in dealing with the pandemic. Another thing is very important also, another lesson I think for me is very important is the how important creativity and innovation to our people, our engineers, our young people, our civil society. So they were innovative, they were creative, and it helped a lot in dealing with the issue. The use of ICT and the new applications have been of great importance, and we saw, for example, robots used by the Ministry of Interior to make people respect the social distance measures. We saw some robots also in hospitals, making patients able to communicate with their families, and we saw this good cooperation with the companies, notably German companies, with the Tunisian society, with the Tunisian civil society, and Tunisian young startups in making and in improving and in promoting such new procedures, new applications. As I mentioned before, Tunisia is going to open its borders. We are going to have a new phase in our strategy dealing with COVID-19, and on the 27th of June we are ready to welcome our Tunisian abroad and also our tourist guests, and we prepared already the health protocols, and we made everything so clear in order to welcome them in good conditions. As you know, Tunisia has no gas, no oil, but it has mainly its skilled people, mainly its qualified people, and the good system of education. And this helped a lot at this moment in order to support all the programs and to make them the application of the measures easier. Another example I want to give you also that when the government decided to distribute small amounts of money for people in order to help face their basic needs, we used applications, mobile phones, in order to to have to have the list of the people, and in order to make them go to the right place without any risks and without having crowded, and we haven't. So this is another example also. I would like also to seize this opportunity to express my appreciation and our gratitude for the German government policy in order to help and support the ICT sector in Tunisia through the BMZ and through GHZ, which are very active in order to help and in order to support young people. Again, I would like also to stress that there are many opportunities in Tunisia, not only in the ICT sector, in the other sectors. We are going to see the new world changing now. We are going to see some new relocations, and again, Tunisia is ready to attract many investments in these sectors, notably in the textile sector, in the health-related activities, pharmaceutical productions. We are ready to assist, to help our German friends in order to seize these opportunities. And FIPA and TIA are there in order to always to continue listening to their inquiries, help them, and to assist them so that they can help to the contribute to the prosperity, shared prosperity between Tunisia and Germany. Thank you again, and I'm ready. A small introduction. I would not to be so long, that I want to hear from you, to hear from my colleagues from the FIPA and TIA. And thank you again for your efforts and for taking this initiative. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I believe you will stay with us until the very end, and you are also open to answer the questions in the chat. Please let us open the floor to our distinguished Tunisian partners, namely the TIA, Tunisia Investment Authority, Mr. Belih Ben Sultan, Chairman of the TIA, and with his speech about the Tunisian government's response to COVID-19, main measures, and the recovery plan. So please open your presentation or start right away as you wish. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Clara. Thank you very much for the introduction. Your Excellency, dear speakers, attendees, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank Emma for organizing this event and for the good opportunity to share insights about the IT sector here in Tunisia and its contribution to mitigating the COVID-19 crisis. I would like also to seize this opportunity to thank GIZ for their support to this initiative and the reinforcing Tunisian-German cooperation. You have heard so far much valuable information from His Excellency. So during the next 10 minutes or so, I will be talking about the importance of digitalization here in Tunisia, TIA's approach during the crisis, and finally, the private sector initiatives and the strategic role of IT in different activities. So to start, I'd say that isolation
Sultan, excuse me to interrupt. It's just I can only see half of your presentation. I believe it will be the same case for the other participants as well. So if you can maybe put a full screen of your first slide, it will be easier for us to see it.
I think I have the whole set here. Is it okay now?
I see half of it. It's when we were testing, I didn't see only half of it. Maybe for other participants, it's fine.
Just 1 second.
Anyone up to help?
No, it's not fine. We see only half of the presentation.
Okay. Peut-être si vous switchez off le diaporama, peut-être ça va aider.
Just 1 second. And now?
Now it's better. I can see the full.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry for interrupting. Now again. So you should keep the former format.
That's about now.
No, it's half. So please.
Is it okay now?
Now it's okay.
All right. So as I said, to start, I'd say that isolation and market volatility have tested the nerves of all of us across the globe. As we continue to face the challenges in the short term, but I think at the same time, COVID-19 crisis has highlighted once again, the importance of digital transformation at all levels. IT and tech companies helped the economies rebound after the financial crisis in 2008. Can it happen now? Again, the answer I would say yes. The current challenges will certainly turn into great opportunities in the longer run, as social distancing, for instance, still drives demand for digital solutions. Our response here in Tunisia, as already explained by His Excellency, has been very successful. Thanks to the joint efforts of public authorities, citizens as well, and the mobilization of the private sector. During the lockdown, there has been an acceleration, a clear acceleration in embracing digital transformation, a rapid move to e-services, and the growing interest for the use of IT, both in business as well in our daily lives. Tunisian IT companies and startups have shown and confirmed their capabilities to develop innovative tools and high-tech products. The efficiency of our response is simply the result of the adopted approach to provide support to vulnerable people and businesses as well. So I strongly believe that next opportunities will be around sectors and niches embracing more and more digital transformation and innovation. As far as TIA is concerned, and thanks to our digital platform that you know, Clara, we have remained close to and sympathetic towards businesses over the past months, while making sure that all stakeholders understand the real issues and providing the adequate and enough support that was direly needed. We adjusted and reinforced our role as a facilitator and single point of contact for both local and international investors in response to the new challenges that businesses are facing to bring them to shore. We have initiated e-caring services, to respond very quickly to the investors' inquiries, provide them with accurate information in order to address the difficulties they were facing during the lockdown by obtaining e-authorization to maintain their activities, to preserve jobs as well as sustainability. They also had the possibility to apply online for the support measures and also help them proceed with their investment e-registration formalities and e-declarations. The objective is not merely to survive, Clara. We are keen to grasp the resulting opportunities and strive to be better off in social, economic, and environmental terms than we were early this year, during January, basically. Adapting to the new normal, for sure, will entail rethinking business models and strategies by further embracing digital tools. And we remain very optimistic here in Tunisia about the new reality that will bring, for sure, endless opportunities. Private sector, so during the crisis period, we have been very proud of the reactivity and the creativity of the initiatives, especially from Tunisian startups. So Tunisian talents showed up with significant smart solutions. His Excellency was referring to Innova Robotics, a Tunisian startup active in the sector of mobile robotics, has developed the P-Guard equipment to support the effort of Tunisia Home Office to impose restrictions during the lockdown period. The same startup has developed an autonomous robot to protect healthcare workers. This robot has been deployed at the Covid-19 hospitals thanks to donation from Reichsmeyer, a German company based here in Tunisia for nearly 4 decades ago. So these are very important examples on how the private sector has reacted to the crisis. Tunisian engineers as well have unveiled COVID-19 scanning tool based on artificial intelligence. This is a web-based platform that can scan lungs using X-rays and determine whether the patient has the deadly infection or not. Again, the main asset here in Tunisia is our human resources. Beyond the health crisis, IT sector in Tunisia is considered as a major driver for development. With the high-tech content, eligible, of course, to a wide range of financial and tax incentives, it's one of the major priority sectors as well. Here in Tunisia, it accounts for nearly 7.5% of GDP and provides jobs to over 80,000 people. The Startup Act, also adopted in 2018, aims also at encouraging entrepreneurship while boosting technological innovation and digital transformation. The focus on innovation, as well as the wide range of incentives, were conceived to support Tunisian youth to contribute and drive the economic growth of the country. Today, over 260 startups have obtained their labels, and we are really keen, at TIA, to support them, of course, in cooperation and closely working with other stakeholders to optimize efforts in driving the overall investment value chain by facilitating their investment journey and providing them e-services for business registration, legal incorporation via our platform, and also through specific enabling environments and appropriate facilitation process. No doubt, one of the major factors of competitiveness here in Tunisia is our human resources. So Tunisians are highly educated and strongly motivated. They are sufficiently skilled with a strong spirit of adaptation to new technologies, coupled with proficiency in many languages, including German. By the way, most of the German companies here are run by Tunisians. In addition, as a profitable nearshore location, Tunisia offers the right human resources and skills at the best cost for a quality of services and products at European standards. And this is not new for Tunisian companies or foreign companies operating here in Tunisia. The major players also based here in this sector are delivering global solutions, and most of their services and products are entirely dedicated to export markets. To conclude, I'd say one thing the crisis did not hit is that the future still belongs to startup founders. That means the talent pool of people available to form their own company or to join an existing startup has gone up significantly. We want strong startups to merge and to make difference here in Tunisia. It's something we prioritize because they can scale up and hire people at a very fast pace, and they will be one of the main drivers, as I said, of post-COVID economic growth. We are in a strong position to move forward out of the crisis, led by innovation and startups. Being at the forefront of investment promotion and facilitation, we will continue to support all means, to find the evidence, to plug gaps through aligning and simplifying procedures, as well as enabling the existing and potential clients to make the right decision for setting up new businesses or reinvesting here in Tunisia. Never let a good crisis go to waste, Clara. This code exists for a reason. People are highly emotional, as we have discussed it before, specifically during crisis, and we are therefore open to new ideas. This creates massive opportunities, and when it comes to opportunities, I'd like to seize this opportunity to urge German companies to consider the prevailing opportunities here in Tunisia and invest once they are ready. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ben Sultan, for your presentation. So now we are switching presentation and we are also switching persons, but let me introduce to you our dream team, because TIA and the FIPA, the Foreign Investment Promotion Agency of Tunisia, are strong partners. And now we will listen to the presentation of the chairman of the FIPA, Mr. Abdelbaset Ranme. Thank you so much. And you may go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Clara. Very good afternoon to all of you, Your Excellency, dear speakers, dear participants. We would like, first of all, to thank Emma for organizing this webinar. Indeed, our last trip was to Germany last February with TIA and with His Excellency. And we had very good meetings, and we signed the MOU, and we believe that it's a good start to enhance our cooperation ties with Germany. So as an investment promotion agency, we believe that the best way to promote the destination is to give support and take care of existing investors. That's why since the beginning of the COVID-19 outbreak, FIPA has been engaged with other stakeholders to support the foreign partners in order to enable them to secure their activities and their exports. Tunisia indeed is an attractive location in different sectors, and today we'll be focusing on the IT. Sorry. So Tunisia is an attractive destination for many foreign investment. As you can see here, almost 70% of foreign companies which are about 3,400 and 500 companies, are wholly exporting. 2/3 of them are from the EU, and we have witnessed mainly expansions during the last few years, taking into consideration the situation in Tunisia. So they reach up to 85% of FDI in Tunisia. Foreign direct investment is mainly substantial in manufacturing, but there is a great potential in the digital sector. Germany is one of the main investors in Tunisia. We have about 270 companies. 80% of them are wholly exporting. 50% of them are in the electrical and electronic industries, and many of them, they are combining in this industrial and R&D activities, mainly in the automotive and also in the electrical industries. And you have here some of the big German companies based in Tunisia. So the digital sector is the new spearhead of the Tunisian economy. The sector has recorded significant and continuous growth during the last years in terms of turnover, number of companies and startups and jobs. So in Tunisia, innovation is part of the most of IT DNA, with more than 500 innovative companies and half of exporting services. The main assets of Tunisia, first of all, it's talent, so the availability of highly skilled labor force at competitive costs, world-class infrastructure which enable foreign companies to operate in Tunisia and provide their services worldwide, a confirmed IT destination, and a friendly business environment. With a performant education system, Tunisia provides more than 60,000 new graduates per year, of which 35% are in engineering and ICT fields with high level of multilingualism, including the German language. Therefore, Tunisia is ranked second country in the world in terms of graduates in science and engineering, according to the Global Innovation Index 2019. Thanks to this quality-oriented education system, Tunisia was well positioned and able to leverage its digital resource to address the COVID outbreak, and it has been mentioned by my colleague Belir. Tunisia holds one of the most qualified pool of talent in the region, with a confirmed expertise, which placed Tunisia as the first North African country in terms of general expertise, according to Global Talent Competitiveness Index. Besides, Tunisia holds the greatest concentration of researchers among the Arab and African countries, with 50% of scientific publication in North Africa, strong R&D culture among its talent. As an example of this R&D spirit, we have the testimonial of Zodiac Tunisia, which is a major player starts in the automotive, and now it's mainly operating in the aeronautic components. That's one of the strengths. I will give you the quote. One of the strengths of Tunisia skills is their creativity and ability to innovate. We can see it quickly when we compare the number of patents filed by the Tunisian subsidiary of Zodiac. This status of innovative destination is confirmed by the Global Innovation Index, which ranks Tunisia second innovative economy in Africa. In addition to the high quality of skills, the Tunisian pool of talent is characterized by its availability, where about 11,000 fresh graduates per year are available in the job market, including about 3,000 engineers, of which 70% are in the IT engineering. In fact, while unemployment, the average of unemployment rate in Tunisia is about 15%, we see that it can reach up to 29% among higher education graduates. It's really challenging for the Tunisian government, but it's an opportunity for foreign investors. Also, one of the most distinguished characteristics of Tunisian talent besides their quality and availability, is their management skills. For this reason, most of foreign ICT companies are 100% managed by Tunisians, including, again, German companies. Being positioned at the heart of the Mediterranean Sea, Tunisia is at the crossroad of submarine high-speed internet cables, which allows Tunisia reaching an international internet bandwidth of 810 gigabytes, extremely convenient for new technology challenges such as big data and blockchain. So many foreign companies, big companies, they are based in Tunisia and they are connected to their headquarters in different parts of the world, and they are offering the same quality of service as their companies in the head office. Tunisia holds also some of dedicated IT infrastructure. It includes techno parks, cyber parks, competitiveness clusters, data centers, and international standards, and Class A offices ready to use, plug and play. So in addition to the labor force, we have the right infrastructure. In a context of rapid innovation and technological progress, the Tunisian digital industry is fully engaged in emerging technology. Thanks to a confirmed know-how, local and foreign IT companies in Tunisia are able to tackle innovative technology challenges, whether it is artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, or big data. And here you have an example of major players in different segments of the digital industry in Tunisia. One of the most, I will showcase one of the most successful IT companies in Tunisia, because we'll have the opportunity to have a case study, German case study. It's an IT company in Tunisia. It's a subsidiary of Orange Group, very active actor in the digital transformation. So this company starts with 20 employees in 2011, and now it is employing more than 650 skills in very diversified activities such as telecommunication, public sector, IoT, blockchain. Its first Orange platform was established in Tunisia in 2014. Now, Sofricom is in progress of fast development, aiming to diversify its activities in Tunisia and move into new niches such as gaming, blockchain technology for marketplace and energy, and IoT for smartphones. And here you have also the testimony of the general manager of Sofricom. The fourth asset of Tunisia is a friendly business environment. As you can see, Tunisia foreign companies, they are free to invest 100% of the company capitals without any restriction. They can also transfer all their benefits and profits without any restriction. And there are substantial grants which are offered by the Tunisian government to encourage investment in these potential sectors. To sum up, we can say that we have freedom of investment in the majority of sectors, including the digital sector, simplified procedures of implementation, and my colleague Belir has already mentioned the digitalization of all the procedures, freedom to transfer profits and capital gains, intellectual property protection, ease to import and export with simplified custom procedures. And in addition to all of these assets, we have also a pleasant living environment in Tunisia, the availability of an international education system, good healthcare service, cultural heritage, and also good climate, which is very convenient for expats. And in addition to all of that, the cost, Tunisia has been ranked first as the most competitive in terms of the cost for expats in the Mediterranean basin. Here you have some testimonies about how Tunisia responded to the COVID-19 from international media, BBC Online, Oxford Business Group, New York Post, CNN, and other. So to conclude, I would say that FIPA Tunisia is well suited to build on the momentum of Tunisia's success stories by highlighting the strong value proposition to prospective investment throughout major potential markets. So at FIPA, we have the right team in place and begin with the immediate targeting of potential investors. This will involve showcasing through proven virtual investment attraction methods and approach, how setting up and or expanding operation in Tunisia makes it an ideal location for investment. So as you can see, with travel restriction, we move to digital. So all our activities are going to be virtual, and we are ready really to respond to all the needs for foreign investors. Thank you very much for your attention, and I stand ready to answer all the questions from participants. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. I'm sure you will be ready to share both of you the presentations with our audience later on. This was one of the questions. Yes, two of those questions, by the way. And yes, please do not hesitate to write all your questions and comments into the chat. We will take them on during this webinar. We were talking about startups, and for me, the incarnation of startups in Tunisia is Mrs. Amal Saidan, the president of the Tunisian Startup Association. You may also remember her from our past Arab-German Digital Forum in Berlin from last October, I think it was. So please, Amal, present your ideas about startups in Tunisia right now, and in particular the IT sector.
Thank you for this opportunity to share an overview from the private sector perspective about what's going on the startup scene. So maybe I'll start with painting the picture about what the prominent aspects about the startup scene in Tunisia, and specifically the Startup Act that has been mentioned a few times now, as the law that was voted last year and is being put in place to offer a set of advantages for startups who are being innovative and scalable and able to grow internationally. So this is a strong message from the Tunisian state, as a country, as a state, as since this was a law that was developed in close collaboration between the startup scene and the government, so working hand in hand in order to give a strong message that this country is betting on innovation. And as you have heard already from our public sector representatives, but also from His Excellency, this is a country that is betting on brains and on innovation. And probably this is the kind of country you'd like to collaborate with. And so Startup Act is a set of tax breaks, but also possibilities to register your IP internationally, to give you a safety net as an entrepreneur. And it was it's being implemented in a fully digital experience with a team of experts that are coming from the private sector and the public sector. That's called the Collège des Startups. So I'm being part of this committee that is giving the labels to the startups, and we're seeing an amazing, vibrant ecosystem with a lot of new creations every day. So we have a pipeline, a depth of the ecosystem that is being developed right now, and that is getting more and more attractive for international investors as well. So this Startup Act story was not only a positive message to the startups in Tunisia, but also to other countries, neighboring countries. So we have a lot of requests coming from neighboring, but also from sub-Saharan African countries, asking for support and advisory so that they can implement their own Startup Act. So we have seen lately Senegal implementing their own Startup Act. So this being said, the law and the legal framework is one part of things. It's removing the barriers in front of startups to be able to move in an agile and smooth way towards their exponential growth. But there's also another initiative that's very important, actually, in terms of international cooperation and in collaboration with international partners, and probably also for the participants today, is actually a fund of funds that is being set up today to invest in this new pipeline of startups, but also in startups coming from other countries in the region. And this fund of funds is going to encourage and push towards having international partners and international investors there. So this is a fund with 200 million euro as a size, as a target size, with investors like the World Bank. KfW is also in there with an equity participation blended with the European Union. So it's a setup including most international players that are showing that they're betting on startups and innovation in Tunisia as well. And then of course the beautiful momentum that was there during the COVID crisis, and that was shared with by Mr. Belir earlier, and Mr. Abdelbast, showing that creativity is also can show the use cases of usage of innovation and of digital solution. And this has been a major accelerator of digitalization in Tunisia indeed, pushing actually for a quick decision making from the policy making perspective. So the question is, why does the startup discussion matter in terms of international cooperation, and why would it matter for you? So there are several ways of collaborating with the startup ecosystem, be it leveraging the fund of funds investment opportunity if you are an institutional investor, or even if you are a business angel private investor. So I always relate to the example that is often shared by Norman, who is going to be speaking later on behalf of the GIZ and BMZ, so that if you are investing in an AI startup in London, you might need to invest 1 million pounds to get 5% from a startup. But since the Tunisian ecosystem is a vibrant one and a new one, an emerging one, probably you might need to invest 100,000 pounds or 100,000 euro to get 15% of an AI startup that's exactly as good as the Berlin or the Paris or the London one. So maybe it's an investment opportunity on that front. But it's also probably a co-development opportunity. So if you are an enterprise in Germany challenged by specific needs of the digital transformation that is impacting your process, that is impacting your business model, and you'd like to explore new ways of solving these challenges, you'd probably like to experiment with the entrepreneurs and tap into the brains of the whole world, because intelligence is actually widely distributed everywhere in the world. So why not tap into a stronger pool of talent? And of course, the battle when it comes to talent is now getting global. So US, the Chinese are also trying. All of them are trying very aggressively to tap into the talent of the whole world. You can see a lot of initiatives from the Chinese in Africa trying to attract talent, to accelerate, to give, offer possibilities to start their subsidiary or even the HQ of their startups in other countries. But if we think of innovation, we should probably think of the extended landscape of innovation, because it's not only the startup in the strict sense of of a disruptive business model that is growing exponentially. We can think of the broad IT and the digital ecosystem, including also innovative IT service providers, including the gaming industry. So this is actually a full landscape that is being looked at actively by the Tunisian government and trying to build vehicles and measures to make it to grow and thrive. So you'll find, of course, companies in Tunisia that are supporting legacy technologies in a typical offshoring, nearshoring model, but also companies that are active in AI, in cloud, in cybersecurity, and you'll see some of them later on in the testimonials. Maybe one of the striking facts about the German economy that is growing very fast in terms of digitalization, this growth is being inhibited today by the access to IT talent. So according to Bitkom, there are today, Germany is short of 100,000 IT experts, and 30%, and a good third of them are software developers that are being they are nowhere. They're not available. It's not about competition. It's not just about offering a better wage or a better fee. It's just they're not there in the German market because the growth of the economy it needs just more. And surprisingly, only 24% of IT companies are looking outside of the EU for these developers, which is totally understandable. So the good news is that we totally understand that where the concerns of the enterprise or the German company are coming from. It's a different legal framework. There is a sea, even though it's just 2 hours flight. There is a sea in between that might mean probably cultural differences, or it's just that people don't know about the existence of this kind of pool of talents. And this is exactly why this setup is so important, and this discussion is so important, because it's giving a perspective of what's available. And I remember a discussion with BMW who was discovering the IT landscape in Tunisia during a visit last year, who were like totally surprised, like why haven't we been here before? And it's like, now we understand that why these companies in Tunisia, why these IT service providers are collaborating with the Safran, the Zodiac, the Orange. So it's just also about building sustainable bridges so that this trust between both markets is established and is there to stay. Maybe one quick note about the talent pool, because this has been mentioned several times. This is a very important point because Tunisia has a talent pool of university graduates. And this gives it maybe a specificity that this number that you have been seeing, that the few over 10,000 that are produced by universities every year are university graduates. So they can bring a different perspective to the business and to the digital transformation of the business, from developing code to co-creating solutions. So besides having over 250 German companies acting in Tunisia with Tunisian people at the head of them, I think it's about really building this sustainable trust and collaboration that can be showcased, that will be showcased and is being showcased through some examples. So thank you very much, Clara, for setting up this conversation. And I think we should keep the conversation going because it's a totally win-win situation.
Thank you very much, Amal. It was very deep insights into the pool of talents, and I believe there's a lot of partnerships we can do, and as I told in the beginning, there's many multiple facets of digital economy and ways of collaboration. And if there's one person who is really, not only we say about Tunisia is the digital hub to Africa, but for me the digital hub to Tunisia is one person, namely Norman Schreppel from the GIZ in Tunisia. Norman, you are presenting the German-Tunisian partnership in the IT sector now, and yes, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Clara. And I think for a disclaimer, I'm an outsider with some insights on Tunisia, and this is also, I guess, what I'm trying to do now. I'm giving you some ideas where I think, and German cooperation in particular, the most potential lies when talking and investing and collaborating with the Tunisian IT industry. I think you have.
Could you please up a little bit?
Okay, sorry. I think I changed the. Better now? Yes, okay. So I'm representing German development cooperation in this panel, and I think there was quite a number of arguments already made why you should consider collaborating with the Tunisian IT industry. I want to give you yet some more arguments for doing that, but before this, let me share some insights that just underlies what was said before. I think Tunisia, and this is really, really important, and everybody's surprised about this, is just around the corner if you're sitting in Germany. So when you're in Munich or Berlin or in Cologne, Tunisia sounds maybe far from you, but it's really, really close. So there's the direct flight from Düsseldorf or from Munich, and it takes you 2 hours and 15 minutes to get here. And this is way often closer than many destinations you want to reach in Germany. So it is really around the corner. You might be afraid of French, because it's a French and Arab speaking country. But don't be, because we're talking about an industry that is very Anglophone. And if you're collaborating with a Tunisian startup or a Tunisian tech company, they will welcome you in English or even German very often. So again, nothing to be afraid of. Now, there's also several other arguments why you should consider thinking of how and to collaborate with the Tunisian IT industry. And this is either you want to save some costs. It's not the biggest argument, but certainly one to take. Amel was talking about BMW, and I mean, we're living in a very competitive market, and Tunisian talents are not just around the corner, they're also actually very good and would be able to provide you with services that are certainly cheaper than in Germany. So you would be able to reduce costs if you're collaborating with a Tunisian company. But then, maybe even more interesting, it gives you access to a new market. So if you want to develop a product for a North African market or an African market, you don't want to do this in Germany, you want to do this with a Tunisian company and a Tunisian partner, because these partners give you not just insights on a very particular context that is different to your own markets, they will also help you to be much quicker when you develop this product. So considering developing a market, it's in Africa or North Africa, it's Tunisia where you want to go. The third point is, and this was, I think, was already underlined, you have access to competencies and talents that you don't have access to in Germany. If you recruit in Germany, it gives you a hard time to find, the right person. So come to Tunisia and you find, talents that are available now, and they're very often as good as the talents you would find in Germany. So this is kind of the short pitch. Now I give you also some arguments why you would do, but I start kind of talking a bit from a perspective of German Development Corporation. So BMZ, the German Development Ministry, said a couple of years ago, we want to have a priority on the digital transformation. And I mean, you could have very different motivations doing that. And one obviously is when we talk about job creation, you want to go in an industry, in a sector that is fast growing, developing quickly, where you have a good base to start with. And this is the IT industry in Tunisia. It's probably one of the fastest growing industries. We saw some numbers before. It is a really big industry. I mean, it's there's different numbers, sometimes competing, but it is comparable to tourism, sometimes even bigger than tourism if you look at the GDP, at the contribution to GDP. So it is a really big industry in Tunisia. So one of the objectives of the BMZ, and then also for us at GSZ, is kind of investing in this industry because it is dynamic and there's jobs being created in a speed that you wouldn't see in the same speed in other industries. But then there's also obviously it's reflecting a bit the changes we see everywhere. I mean, technologies and digital technologies are transforming our lives, but they're transforming economies and they're transforming societies, the public sector. And this is certainly also why we in the BMZ said we need to invest in this. Global value change, global economies are changing, and this changes the Tunisian industries, it's changing the value chains, and this is why we need to make sure companies in Tunisia become future-proof and ready to transform themselves. So this is our motivation why we are here. We're representing the German government, and we want to foster and harness a little bit the potential of the digital transformation. And the private sector and business is basically our entry point. So when we are doing this, we are trying to create exactly these kind of bridges between Germany and Tunisia, for example, because we believe this is where investment will flow, this is where fruitful collaborations will flow, and this is where we kind of create this sustainability or this long-lasting, after we stop with our project, collaborations that we need. And here's what we offer. So if you are a German company, but also a Tunisian company, we would be able to help you to de-risk your activities. So we don't ask you to go to a market you don't know. We don't ask you to deal with the risks you might have with that, just yourself. We will help you with it. We do have a couple of priorities or focus areas to do that. BMW, Ahmed was mentioning before, is one of these examples. They came here, we invited them, what we call an ecosystem discovery tour. So if you want to discover Tunisia, we will help you to do that. And they were surprised, as was said before, you know, they were like, well, weren't we here before? This and a certain force coming out of the ecosystem that you need to discover yourself. We will help you with that. But when you're doing that, we will not just match you maybe with interesting companies for your needs, be it kind of cost reduction to some of your software development, or maybe also exploring new markets. We will also make sure you kind of you see the real thing. It's not just a pitch; it's actually an audit, and you would understand, you know, where might be the weak points, but also the opportunities lying in this kind of information. There's a big focus, I said this before, on software development and IT sourcing. It's an initiative that we call Tech 216, where we want to help that German companies can outsource some of the work to Tunisian companies, and through this save costs, explore new markets, etc. But we also have a big initiative on what we call Industry 4.0, a topic where Germany is already seen as a leader. But I think if you discuss Industry 4.0 in the context of Tunisia, there's a huge potential for collaboration, because it's certainly different than the topic in Germany itself. But yet many, in particular kind of the medium-sized companies in Baden-Württemberg or elsewhere, they would actually having an interesting product for also a Tunisian client. And then the Tunisian industry company would be probably very interested in seeing and exploring if this would be something of interest. And I'm stopping with a last topic, I think, that is really interesting. And this is what was said before, the dynamic coming out of rather young companies. We call them startups. But very often startups in Tunisia could be quite strong entities, big companies being already on different markets. I mean, we heard some of these examples. InstaDeep is very big on artificial intelligence in different African markets already. Innova Robotics, you know, coming up with very different robotic solutions for the Tunisian, but also the European market. And I think, in particular, if you think of business development, of innovation partnerships, the Tunisian startup ecosystem has something to offer that is quite promising. Again, we offer tailor-made support program to these different topics, and we expect obviously the other side, if you're a company, to invest yourself, but we would be helping you to de-risk this kind of investments. Talking about startups, I think this is where we have the next speakers also kind of coming with some insights, but I will stop here. And then if you have questions, but also kind of now you get curious and engaging with us, feel free to come and join our discussions.
Thank you very much, Norman. Indeed, now we want to talk with two of our startup experts. Think IT and Arzela are two startups founded by committed young people in the IT sector. And please allow me to introduce to you Ines Hafi, who is the co-founder of Arzela and who will present her Tunisian success story. Ines, you are part of our Arab-German mentoring program, WISAL, and together with your mentor, Nora Legitimo from SAP, you are currently working on the business development of your company. So please explain us a little bit more what Arzela is doing. How do you work and live through the crisis, and how does your company contribute to the digitalization and digital transformation of the Tunisian economy and public society as well? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Clara. I'm Ines Hafi, co-founder of Arzela. I want to thank Emma for the invitation, as well as all the participants in this webinar. So I'm here today to share with you the experience of our startup with the coronavirus crisis, As we are an e-gov startup, we work in a collaboration with public to offer digital transformation solution to municipalities. And we are tackling the problem of administrative bureaucracy. So we offer platforms that allow easy access to information and better communication. Also, we offer tools for workflow simplification and optimization. So today, people accept more transparency and more simplicity from local government. And to meet these challenges, we operate in three different levels: e-participation, e-services, and e-resources. And our e-participation solution help administrations to manage and visualize citizen participation and engagement. The e-service functionality consists in making it easy for citizens to access and benefit from municipal services without having to move to the municipality. And it's by providing online access to basic municipal service. And it improves and simplifies the citizen experience with their administrative procedures and facilitates the missions of employees. So for our startup, as for the majority of IT companies, I believe that the COVID crisis was an exceptional opportunity to seize. Digital transformation is no longer a choice, but an obligation. And we, during the, it is equally important to mention that technological change solution must be elastic, flexible, which can adapt to the different evolving needs of structures, as was the case during the coronavirus crisis, where priorities changed and it was necessary to respond quickly to the new urgent needs. So during the COVID time, we were able to show some agility in adapting our offers to the needs of the context, as the municipality were on the front line to manage the coronavirus crisis. We were closely involved in the movement to fight the virus by the use of dedicated platforms. We have put online the platform Belediyeti in its special version coronavirus, and another platform of citizen solidarity. And in time of lockdown with all the restriction, it was necessary to offer alternatives for citizens to access municipal service. So we were responsible for putting the services online. And before the corona crisis, we had like 10 municipalities adhering to our project. And while during the lockdown period, we were solicited by 80 municipalities. So for Ursula, what we experienced crisis, a big peak in terms of numbers of users, numbers of partners, number of requests received and processed on the platform. And to meet all these emerging needs, we come to the question of investment. Is now a priority for all the sectors, and especially the e-gov sector. And this is why it's necessary to invest in startup and on IT innovation to meet all these challenges of digital transformation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ines. I really like your quote that digital transformation is no longer a choice, but an obligation. I wish also that we would live this here in Germany as well. There's so much we can learn from Tunisia at the moment. And yeah, I'm really curious about what the future is bringing us. And it's also good to see that companies and especially startups make from the Corona pandemic also an innovation process, and that even your company is growing throughout this crisis. So this is good news. Our second startup invited here is represented by the co-founder and CGO of Think IT, Joscha Raue. So Joscha, welcome here. You are traveling back and forth between Tunisia and Berlin, if I'm well informed. So please tell us, where are you right now? How do you handle the crisis? And please tell us the success story of your startup.
Sure. Thanks a lot for having me, Clara, and also warm welcome to all participants and the other panelists. I'm very delighted to be here. So yeah, my name is Joscha. I'm one of the co-founders of ThinkIt. Currently, I find myself on the German countryside because I'm actually at my parents' place right now. But as you correctly said, usually I'm spending around half my time in Tunis and half my time in Berlin. And it's similar for the other co-founders of ThinkIt. And I would share a few slides in the beginning to just share a bit about what we do and how we actually got to Tunisia. And then just also share a bit about my experience as a German building a company in Tunisia. And what Norman said is actually quite true about the French part. I mean, I'm personally not proud of it, but my French is still really, really bad. After 3 years in Tunis. But we managed to, kind of set up the company and run everything without actually. Also, at ThinkIt, company language is English, and that works really, really well. So I think this was one of the, let's say, concerns that we heard a lot from people outside of Tunisia, but it's something that as an organization working there for 3 years, we can definitely confirm that level of English and level of talent in general is really amazing. And in terms of what we do, ThinkIt in the end is an engineering collective that's on the mission to unlock human potential with technology. What does that mean for us? In the end, that means that we invest in talents, in ecosystems that are not the Western world, not Europe, not the US, but with a focus on North Africa and specifically Tunisia. And then we work on solutions that can move forward our society in terms of reaching the Sustainable Development Goals. And so a lot of our focus is on cloud and data solutions. So platforms where organizations can make sense of their data and then use them to kind of build and drive data-driven innovation. We're essentially focusing a lot on cloud and machine learning, but obviously software engineering is something that is always part of that mix. And so our team, is, I would say, 90% software engineers and data scientists. Interesting maybe also to know is that the average age of our team is around 26, 27 years. So rather young. And that also speaks to what other people said before today for the really rich roster of talent, I would say, especially young graduates that are extremely motivated and have a lot of potential, need some guidance and experience, but where we really see a huge potential and opportunity in the region. And this is also to kind of just share a bit about how we got to Tunisia in the first place is that we were looking at the world, let's say, and the numbers are quite obvious. When thinking of Germany, Amel said it before, it's 100,000 people missing in terms of technical talent. Globally, it's around 1.5 million this year. And this just means that there is a huge, huge issue for organizations in the US and Europe. And at the same time, we knew, because my co-founders are both coming from North Africa, one is Tunisian and one is half Libyan. We knew that there are places in the world where there is a lot of young people that have amazing skills, but that just lack the access to these opportunities because the local market is maybe not strong enough to take up all the graduates. And you've seen this in the numbers before with 29% of unemployment rate around the kind of really well-educated. And so we were looking at the entire African continent to compare these metrics of like, on the one hand, the level of education that people have, but also then the level of youth. And Tunisia and North Africa really stood out, which is why we said 3 years ago, okay, let's move there and really find out for ourselves what it looks like. And yeah, the journey has been, as any startup's journey, sometimes challenging, but ultimately extremely rewarding on a personal level and also from a business perspective, because what we found is really young people that can easily compete with their international counterparts in Germany or the US, that are on the one hand extremely motivated, extremely skilled, and I think especially for skill sets that you need to drive digital transformation, to drive innovation when it comes to a kind of a cloud native mindset, when it comes to being agile and flexible and really creative in the kind of solutions that you come up with. And this is what we found in Tunisia and what has been a competitive advantage for us ever since. And so we work with a variety of companies, and I think what really plays out well for us is thinking about people as future technology leaders. So when it comes to technical confidence and problem solving, when it comes to being skilled collaborators, and also really being driven by values and having a very good ability to learn. And so those are the things that we focus on, and we find that there's really a vast talent pool that we can draw from to basically do that. In terms of partners, companies that we work with, that ranges from small organizations up until BMW. And I think it's worth noticing that with BMW, we are also working on a kind of cloud data platform within their enterprise, which is one of the really strategic topics or initiatives for them to drive the digital transformation. And our people are contributing to that core product, which means that there's probably within the entire organization at BMW, there's around 10 to 15 employees working on these innovative topics. And then there's 5 to 6 people from ThinkIt working on this. And that kind of shows that people are being taken seriously, and that Tunisia has the potential to really work on the most innovative topics for organizations in Germany and beyond. And so that's for us really, really great to see, I would say. Also to see more and more activity in building bridges between Germany and Tunisia specifically. We've always seen ourselves as a bridge builder and ambassador to Tunisia in the Western world, so predominantly Berlin and the States. And we've also seen that a lot of people simply are not aware of the huge potential that the region has. And so, really happy to seeing this group and having around 50 people here that really show an interest in the topic, because I think that we're only kind of scratching the surface of what's going to be possible over the next couple of years. And really happy to be part of this, and also happy to answer any questions that there might be.
Thank you, dear Joscha. So this is not the first, but also not the last exchange that we want to provide in this regard. So let's move on and build bridges together. Thank you to all the panelists for your contribution. And we have now some 10 minutes left for questions and comments. So maybe you as a panelist, you have also some new idea and some new aspect you want to mention. So please, raise your hand and speak up. But also there have been questions. One question has been dedicated to Ines Hafi. So please, Ines, maybe you answer the question. I will read it out to everyone. Is during the Corona pandemic, do the platforms support schools, universities, and healthcare services? So maybe you can elaborate a little bit more about the destinataries of your services.
Yeah. So our platform is our solution are dedicated to municipality structures, to local government, and not for schools or universities or healthcare sectors. Yeah.
So it's mainly about digitalizing the administrations also on the regional and local level, right?
Exactly.
Perfect. There has been another question. I hope I'm not challenging you too much with it, but Tunisia has already had a Digital Vision 2020, which has just been accomplished. And from our talks in the last weeks, we've learned that there's a multi-stakeholder dialogue going on right now about the upcoming Vision 2025. So, of course, I'm very much interested in your ideas and insight, what has been achieved so far and what also can be expected for the next couple of years. So if anyone wants to answer this big question, please go ahead. I think Mr. Ben Sultan raised his hand first. Amal, I'm sorry, but
sure.
go second. Please put on your mic. We cannot hear you.
Is it okay? So I'd say that a lot has been done, I mean, for the previous period of time. So from 2016, 2020, a lot of things have been well conceived and well implemented. Basically, with respect to infrastructure, so we have a very developed infrastructure, but it needs to be further improved and further reinforced. On the education side, so priority is more towards IT and science, innovation, and so on. We need to speed up. So we are not really, satisfied. So we are still hungry in terms of IT, and we have all the ingredients, I think, to move to the next step. So speeding up with respect to this process is very important for next period of time till 2025. I think, and the success story with us today is one of the examples, I mean, to put on the table and go further in this direction, which is basically to move 100% within the administration. It will facilitate everything for all citizens, including companies and businesses. It's quite complex, so with the support of GIZ, other partners as well. So we are keen to move towards this direction and to scale up the administration vis-a-vis the business circles as well. So we need to go hand in hand. So we are trying, I mean, to keep it very in mind, I mean, to have a new administration. So today we have a couple of examples. So TIA has started its own digitalization process. Other organizations are moving towards the same direction. But again, we need to go further, even within municipalities, in all areas, all regions of the country.
Thank you. So now you have the word, and please read also the other questions in the chat and reflect on who is willing to answer them. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe very quickly to the digital agenda for Tunisia. There have been progress indeed, and I really appreciate the contribution of Mr. Ben Sultan, focusing or underlying the fact that we know that we want to go faster and that we will have to go faster because the pace of digital transformation is gonna expect from us a higher growth and faster speed. So the priorities of the current government in terms of digital transformation or digital agenda are revolving around stronger infrastructure, digitalization of the government, and this is also an endeavor that is being supported by the German corporation, big collaboration project through the KfW, also a digital ID, and of course the innovation and startups. You have seen that it's at the heart and at the center of the political discourse in Tunisia. Maybe there is another aspect we have, as you mentioned, Clara, there is a strong focus on having a multi-stakeholder approach that is connecting private sector, public sector, civil society, because we have understood that digital transformation cannot be undertaken by the government on its own. It cannot work in a siloed approach. So this is clear to everyone, and now there is a new committee that is supporting the endeavor of the implementation of the digital agenda. It has been announced by the government as it's called Tech for Tunisia, and it's the agile body and organization that will support the connection to the ecosystem and the iterative approach that will help leading the implementation of the digital agenda that is being revisited now as the agenda of 2025.
Thank you so much. Norman, you want to move on?
Yes, I'm trying to make a link also to the other questions. I think in terms of the digital agenda, it's not so much a question on the paper and the strategy of the government, I think, and there's a certain energy now coming in with this crisis, and we heard before this is an opportunity where there will be also new markets, new priorities in the topics, public sector, but then also then the transformation and more resilience of the economy. And I think this makes it also very interesting. You would see this in many countries, but it makes it particularly interesting, I think, in Tunisia for collaborations between, for example, German partners. So I think the strategy or the environment, in a sense, is there. We don't have to wait for that. It's more kind of an intelligent design for partnerships. And I also read the comment on obviously Tunisian solutions that would be interesting also for a German market. And I think there's certainly already a lot of companies kind of focusing on the European market and kind of pushing towards Europe. Again, my comment on this would be, yes, indeed, this is really interesting partnerships. And I think to promote them even further, the best thing is to team up with stakeholders from the private sector in Europe, and then find out, like how to build these bridges, and not particularly just, to get access to a German market, but also to, which I think is one of the biggest opportunities for Tunisian products to other markets in the region, on the continent. I think what is developed here with good partnerships would be able to access really new markets on the African continent. And doing so, I think partnerships, for example, with German companies is one option to explore, where I think the panelists, including us, would be able to somehow support.
Any other comment, answer to the questions? So I would like to ask all of our panelists, one after the other, of course, to just give one key impression that you want us to take back from your work, from what you've said, what we've just discussed, so that we have some food for thoughts for this afternoon. Democracy, so who wants to start?
Okay, I will start. So I think we get to the conclusion. It's a good opportunity, I think, to exchange with German companies, either German already established in Tunisia, and mainly maybe new companies. We showed in Tunisia that we are looking for more new investment, but we take care of existing one. And we have one question from Elko, from Hani Salemi. So it's a company, Tunisian German company, which developed, I think, a solution in the healthcare, and he's asking for support. So we are ready to discuss, to meet and to discuss how we can able to respond to their needs and to help them to develop their activities in Tunisia. It's the same for other companies. Maybe they didn't have the opportunity to ask for questions. Just a small comment regarding the digitalization in Tunisia. Maybe it's difficult now to say, to assess what have been done from 2016 to 2020. But the most important thing, it's for sure that the digitalization is on the way now, and we have seen that during the COVID-19, the progress which has been made mainly within the administration, it's a good sign. It's a new opportunity, I think, for companies, either Tunisians and also in cooperation with German expertise. So we have the experience to talk mainly about manufacturing sectors with Germany. I think it's not common that we talk about the digital sector. So today, I think it's a good opportunity that we focus on this sector, because there are many opportunities within win-win partnerships. So it's possible, and we have seen that the testimonial of some of the participants. So we are ready to support German companies to explore all the investment opportunities prevailing in Tunisia, and also that they are able to find the right skills in Tunisia and the right environment, and they can be for sure that we can help them during all the way, and to help them to develop their activities in Tunisia. Thank you very much again for all the speakers, for all the participants, and for Emma for this opportunity.
This was a very long minute. So
sorry.
A little bit more brief. I couldn't see His Excellency Mr. Chafra so far, but I see he's still here. So Your Excellency, because I said we are in a democracy, but still we want to respect the protocol, I suggest I will let you give the final word. So we will have the cherry on the gâteau, la cerise sur le gâteau.
Much. Thank you for all of you. It was really a very instructive webinar, and I hope that it has generated a lot of interest among our German friends in order to invest in Tunisia, in order to seize the opportunities in Tunisia. Thank you again for your interest, and we are looking forward to have new events, to organize with you new events, new cooperations, and I hope that soon we will be able to meet and to organize something much more better. But it's a good step, and I thank you very much for your effort, for your colleagues, you and EMA, and all of our partners. It's a really good opportunity and very constructive webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I believe there was some miscommunication from my side. Now, Mr. Ben Sultan, I see the final.
Thank you again, Clara, very quickly, so I won't talk too much. The potential is here. The process is simple, easy, and fast. So we look forward to seeing more and more German companies willing to consider Tunisia. And again, we are here to help them understand, the environment, and help them proceed with their investment ideas. Thank you again, and look forward to seeing you very soon.
Thank you. Anyone else? Otherwise, I'm going to. Okay.
Yeah. So very quick words. Hashtag. There is an amazing energy happening in Tunisia. And then the call to action is just reach out, maybe ask for more information, and spread the word. Just onboard more, and you'll see magic happening.
And come visit, because once you're there, it will look very different from what you will imagine. And I think that really helps to get a better perspective and then make a decision or so. But I can definitely say that the energy is real that Amal is describing.
And maybe to add something, because this is more kind of a request, invest kind of in partnerships. And the IT sector is different than any normal sector, so there can be a lot of creativity on how you can partner up. Sometimes it's easier than you think, sometimes it's more complicated than you think. But I think the key is kind of the way to build this bridge and to create partnerships that are intelligent.
We are done. Thank you so much to all the participants, to all the distinguished panelists. We will, of course, send you the documentation of today's webinar, and we will continue our work and also our network of this very valuable partners in Tunisia, and hopefully we can visit Tunisia this summer again. We're really much looking forward to that. Have a great day and see you all soon. Stay safe.
Thank you. Stay
Thank
safe.
you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.